What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Goblins Den. I got a package yesterday, which I was surprised. Didn't expect anything coming. And the package showed up, which I will tell you about in a moment. But wanted to discuss something. Yesterday, well, obviously after I got the package, my fiance and I actually got a chance to go to the movies. And what did we see? We went to go see the X-Men Days of Future Past. Yay! And let me tell you, if you haven't seen this movie and you're an X-Men fan, or even if you're not an X-Men fan, you haven't seen this movie, go see it. It was really, really good. It was just amazing. It really was cool. I was sitting there and I was like, everything in there. I was like, oh my god. But again, this is the perfect example, like I was talking about in a previous video, where how Hollywood has to change things around because they kind of want to give you something different in a way. Because everyone who's read the comics knows that Wolverine, obviously, in the comic, gets obliterated. Pretty much everyone dies in that thing. He gets, blown to pieces. And what happens is, in that storyline, Kitty Pryde, or Shadowcat, she goes back in time. I think it's Xavier. Yeah, Xavier sends her back in time or something, into her younger self to warn them and try to change everything. You can't do this, you can't do that, and otherwise it's going to happen. Which is cool. Now, in the cartoon, they had it as Bishop. Bishop goes back in time with the help of Forge and a time portal, and goes back in time to prevent an assassination of Senator Kelly, which he thinks is Gambit when it actually turns out to be Mystique. But in this movie, what happens is they send Wolverine back because he's the only one who can handle the trip. But interesting, like I said, see how things change, and now they sent Wolverine back. But it's Kitty Pryde that sends him back with some weird, power. She puts her hands over his thing like Xavier would, and this blue aura comes out, and she travels him back in time. When was she able to do that? I don't know that, but see how it changes? That's what I'm talking about. And but what was cool is that there was a scene where actually, no, I'm not gonna tell you because I would give it away. But there's a few scenes that kind of nod to the cartoon in a way, and then certain other things nod to the comics. But it was cool. It was really cool. It had a lot of awesome effects and a lot of it was just interesting. I was just sitting there, I was just glued to it. I'm like, oh my god. And I kept looking to see if I found any cameo mutants and all that stuff. And Quicksilver was cool. I have to give him credit. I thought he was going to be worthless and shitty, but they actually made him pretty damn cool. There was a scene in there where you're just like, wow, that's awesome how this happens. Like I said, I'm not going to give anything away because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But also remember to stay after the credits, because there's something just as awesome, if not extremely awesome, after the credits. When I saw that, I was blown away. I was like, oh my god. And I was sitting there, I was talking to my fiance, I was like, you know what, leave it to Bryan Singer. He comes back to direct, and he fixes everything with one movie. And he pretty much does. He pretty much fixed all the continuity problems in a way, and he fixed a lot of the crap that people were like, how are you going to fix that? How are you going to fix that? He fixed it. And he connected the dots on every movie going into it. So it's like, wow, I got to give him credit. He did it. He pulled it off. It was pretty damn cool. So go see X-Men Days of Future Past. Alrighty, moving on to my package today. Yesterday. Like I said, I was not expecting a package. And this is actually from a friend of mine who I've been talking to him for a long time. I've known him for a really long time. I've known him since high school. And he sent me, he's a huge comic book fan. And he sent me a couple books out of the kindness of his heart. We were talking about stuff. He is a midtown comics person. That's all he goes to. He went to a couple places beforehand, like when I used to hang out with him all the time. But he always went to Midtown. He would always have to take the train on a Saturday or a Friday or whatever it is, Friday night if we were going out there, and take the train to New York and then You know, he had to go to Midtown, and then we would come back, which was a long trip to go get comics that you could easily walk 5 minutes down the road into Bailey's, and that was just me. I was like, I was a Bailey's person. Still am, you know. But he is a Midtown person. That's all he would ever do. And I told him what was going on. I said, you know, this is what they've been doing to me. I was like, it's a bunch of bullshit. And I actually canceled the rest of my variants that I had coming that were from, you know, I ordered a long time ago and they were coming in. I had canceled them, and now we're playing the waiting game on when they're going to return my money. So there's another reason why they suck. When you have to do a return, where they have to give you your money back, they take forever. I did a return one time, like a couple years ago, and it took them almost a month before they finally put my money back in my account. Unbelievable. But anyway, I told him what was going on, and he's like, I can't believe, you know, that's what's going on. And I don't know if he's friends with somebody there that works there. I don't know how it is. But he's like, I'm going to go, you know, see what I can do. And I'm like, nah, you know, you don't have to worry about it. You know, it's done. It's over with. I'm done with them. I don't want to ever shop with them ever again. And it's interesting how friends are, in a way. Excuse me, which he didn't have to do, but he did. He went to Midtown, apparently, and he was telling me how much, you know, money he... Well, he didn't tell me the full amount, but he spends a fortune there every week. Like a small fortune. Thank God he's got a good job. He, you know, buys, like, statues every couple of weeks. He buys, you know, he always gets the pull list. He has a huge pull list. It's like the comic book version of how big your penis is. I have a huge pull list. But anyway, big American pull list. Anyway, he's got a, you know, huge pull list there, and he always gets back issues whenever he gets his new comics, so he spends, you know, hundreds of dollars, if not more, a week, which is insane, but hey, everyone's got their thing. And he went in there, apparently, and said, hey, you know, you screwed my friend, you know, at all this stuff, and you really kind of pissed him off, and you know what, you know, you pissed him off, so that means you pissed me off. And he was like, and I don't want to deal with you guys ever again, and he had a whole thing he was telling me that he said to them, and he said that he wants his pull list wiped out. He doesn't want anything for them to pull anymore. He's not going to be shopping at any of their stores, and his friends will not be shopping at any of their stores. And they were like, oh, no, what do you mean? What's going on? What's the name? And all this stuff. And funny enough, I actually got an email from Midtown saying, we're very sorry for all the inconvenience we've done to you. You know, we're looking into the problem. We're going to fix it. I'm like, you know... And I felt like putting back in an email, sending back just saying, fuck you. You know, it's too late now. But I appreciate my friend doing what he did. And I was like, you know, you have to do that. And he's like, no, it's not right. He's like, there's other stores in the city. He's like, I don't care. I'll go to something else. But he sent me this. He's like, you know, I felt bad. And he's like, I know you're not getting any new issues because, you know, it's pricey. And which is true. New issues, I've mentioned it before, it's a double-edged sword. It's like you really want them to come out quickly because you want to get that next book. You want to read it. But with their price tags, it does a little damage on the wallet, especially when it's weekly, when it's coming out every week. You're like, oh, God, $6 for this, $6 for that, $6 for that, you know, $4 for this, $4 for that, and it's just, it adds up. I mean, you buy $5 and you know, you're down like $50. But, so I said, I was like, yeah, I'm not getting any new issues because they're just too pricey, and I was like, or I got to pick and choose, really, because just money is a bit of an issue right now. And, I said I'm going to just stick with back issues, and I'm going to buy them occasionally. You know, and if I see a new issue that I really, really want, you know, and I'm going to weigh it out, and I guess, you know, not buy a back issue and buy one of the new issues, which is a horrible thing to do. But you know what? Everyone's got to do what they got to do. You know, everyone's got their things, and you know, not everyone is rich or anything else. So, but anyway, he sent me this. He's like, he found this one book. This is one that I actually had canceled. There's actually, I think there's 3 books I had to cancel from Midtown, and this was one of them. And I really wanted it too, and I'm like, you know, you just pissed me off too much, and this cost me from Midtown $14-something and then shipping. He got it for cover price. So here it is, the variant for Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, Number 1, the Black Cat variant, which has got Deadpool and Spider-Man and the Black Cat. It's a Terry Dodson cover. Apparently it's supposed to be ultra rare. And I just originally got it because I wanted the Black Cat cover. And I know everyone in variants, oh, you don't like variants yet, you buy them. I told you how I feel about variants. You know, a lot of times the variants are better looking than the regular cover, But it is a trap. You know, they get you to buy the regular cover, and then you buy the variant, or you know, I'm just sticking with whatever cover I consider that I like more. Like if I like the variant more, I get that one. The real reason I got the original Spider-Man cover is because I wanted to read it, and this was taking forever to come out anyway. And then when I canceled it, I'm like, all right, yeah. But anyway, there's that. He sent this to me, and he got it for cover price, which was $6. And I was like, wow, dude. I was like, I paid 14 something, well, which I'm still waiting to get my money back. So he sent me this, which was really, really cool. It was really nice. And he sent me this. When I was talking to him, he's like, I know you would have kicked yourself if you didn't get it. I know you really wanted to read it. And this is another one that I just couldn't pick up because it was, no, not that it was just pricey. Well, it is pricey with $5. But, like I said, money's tight, so I'm really, cutting down to beyond bare minimum, where I'm getting like one book a month, for now. But he got me this and sent it to me, Superman Doomed, the one-shot #1, which I think is the first appearance of Doomsday in the New 52. And I got a chance to read this, and it was actually pretty good. What's interesting is, it seems to me with this, which, you know, I don't know if anyone's already read it or not, but hang on one sec. If I can get this damn thing. I found this, my old spoiler alert card. It seems to be, you know, so if you don't want to know what's about this book, you might want to skip ahead until you see this card again. Anyway, it seems to be what happened is, like, if you look at the original Superman, when he fought Doomsday and lost, you know, didn't really lose, but, you know, got his ass kicked, and died, this is like a reincarnation of it almost. Like, they acknowledge that Superman fought him before, but this is a new version of Doomsday. Like it's like leveled up, you know. It's like evolved into a new thing. And these people are like saying, you know, you can't beat this thing because it's evolved. Like what you fought was nothing compared to what this thing can do. Like this thing can teleport and all this other shit, and it's like made out of poison, and you know, it walks past the person automatically dies because it's sucking the energy out of them. It's nuts. But it's cool, you know. And Superman's like, I got to take this thing down, and everyone's like, you're the only one who can stand like within like 10 feet of it for longer than a second before they get obliterated, you know. And you know, Wonder Woman fights him and gets, you know, her ass kicked, sort of, you know, and she realizes that he's made out of poison. She's like, oh, he's poison. And Superman's basically just, you know, like, you know, I gotta take this thing out, and he swoops in, picks him up, flies off the planet into Venus, and starts beating the shit out of Doomsday, just flat out, you know, kicking his ass. Comes back down to Earth, exhausted, like, you know, he's covered in, like, you know, ripped, you know, suit, and he's like, oh, you know, I did it, you know, I promised I'd save everybody, and all of a sudden Doomsday teleports back down, and Superman turns around and is just like, oh, you know, and attacks him again, and literally rips him in half, just goes, woof, and, in doing so, it gets poisoned, so that's, like, the whole thing, like, how is Superman going to survive being poisoned, you know, blah, 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 and, what I thought, like I said, which is interesting, is it seems to me what they did with this book is that in the first one when Superman fought him and he died, Doomsday was just kicking his ass, and just left and right, you know, just they were obliterating each other, but Doomsday was overall winning. In this, it was almost like a second round where Superman was the one kicking the crap out of Doomsday, and won, actually. It's like with WrestleMania 6, if anyone's seen that, when Ultimate Warrior beat Hogan for the title, and then, you know, they never had a rematch, and the Hogan fans were like, oh, he never had a rematch, and then, like, you know, 7 years later, he's in WCW and fights Ultimate Warrior again, and Hogan wins. It's like, that seems to be what this is. But, yeah. Cool book, though. Cool book. And that's the end of the spoiler alert card. Well, spoiler alert. So that is that. Very interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this one before, too, but I saw the, season finale of Arrow. That was absolutely amazing. That was just awesome. I watched it again yesterday because it was so cool, just how they did everything. Very, very cool. I'm looking forward to The Flash. That looks amazing. Gotham, I'm on the fence still. I have friends like, how do you think of Gotham? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I have the same feeling I had towards Arrow that I have towards Gotham, so I'm hoping that it goes the same way, where Arrow was just amazing, and I'm like, alright, cool. Because Gotham, I know it focuses on Jim Gordon, and, you know, it shows, like, the villains before they're, you know, I guess villains or something like that. And I'm looking forward to see how they do it, but it just looks like it might drag. I don't know. It just seems like they're going to focus too much on, just, detective stuff, and I don't know. I'm probably rambling, but we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it's as good as the other ones, because a lot rides on this stuff. And you got to give it credit to DC, man. They are pumping out the TV shows now. They used to, Marvel, when it comes to the movies, Marvel owns DC. Like, they know it, too. Like, because Marvel pumps them out, and majority of them are awesome. Whereas DC's just kind of like, we threw a few Batmans out there, and we threw a couple Supermans out there, and Lantern didn't do too well, even though I liked the Green Lantern. I thought it was actually a pretty cool movie. It's very underrated, and, it just needed different things. But everyone's like, it was the worst movie ever. Alright, hey, I liked it. I thought it was cool. And that was it. Like, DC was just kind of folded up tent and just decided to rely on Batman and Superman, and not really, well, as of, back then, they didn't rely on it. They didn't send anything out like, let's try an Aquaman movie, let's try, they tried Lantern, and technically it failed. So then they just gave up. They're like, we're just going to worry about Superman and Batman. That's it. But now it looks like they're trying to expand a little bit. But then Marvel turns around, and Marvel's like, hey, you know what? We're going to try to throw out a TV show that's going to kick ass, because your Smallville rocked, and now your Arrow's, winning. Let's try S.H.I.E.L.D., and S.H.I.E.L.D. was failing in the beginning, but now it seems to be like it did pick up. It did pick up. The last episode of the season was actually pretty cool. So we'll see how that goes in the second season. But DC turns around. DC's like, we've been kicking your ass in the animated department. Especially with their animated movies and their shows, they've been launching them out. Marvel's just kind of like spinning their head around, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I know, let's put an Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon and then never show it. We'll show a couple episodes and then we'll cancel it, and then we'll make believe that it's still out there, but it's really not. And then we're gonna redo the Avengers that was actually working really well. We're gonna redo that because we want to make it look like the movie. And I'm like, oh god. And now there's a rumor. I don't know if it's a rumor, but I think it's actually going into effect that Marvel's trying to make an X-Men show, which is, ballsy, because their Generation X, back in the 90s, whew, wow, that was horrible. That was like with Nick Fury, the one with David Hasselhoff, which was interesting, but it was just like, wow. So yeah, there's that, and then just DC's like pumping out the shows now, and they're actually good, so we'll say, well, at least Arrow's good. Smallville was great. See how it goes. Oh, and one other thing before I go, I want to mention another interesting thing that I got into a fight with my friend. Well, not a fight, but he was just like, I had to prove it to him, which was funny. I love when I'm right, I have to prove it, and then you get the silence. They're like, a lot of people had mentioned that, like, when you watch the Winter Soldier of Captain America, it's not really a spoiler alert, so I don't know. It might be. They mentioned Doctor Strange, his name. They're like, Doctor Strange is on one of the lists that they're going to obliterate, all these things. And a lot of people were saying that's the first time they ever mentioned Doctor Strange in the Marvel movie universe. And it's not. It actually isn't. They mentioned Doctor Strange in SpiderMan 2, the one with Tobey Maguire with Dr. Octopus. And my friend's like, no, they never mentioned it in that. It was only in the Winter Soldier, because they're developing. I'm like, no, man. I was like, it was in Spider-Man 2. No, it's not. I was like, look at the scene when you see when Dr. Octopus goes on his rampage or whatever it is, and they're trying to think of a name for Dr. Octopus, and Sam Raimi's, I think it's his brother, comes in and says, whatever, Captain Chaos or something, whatever names, I forget what it was. But then he's like, no, and J. Jonah's like, no, and then he's like, how about Doctor Strange? And J. Jonah Jameson's like, good one, but it's taken, and then they go to Doc Ock. So Doctor Strange has been mentioned in Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, with the Dr. Octopus. And I showed my friend, I sent him the clip, and he's like, son of a bitch. I'm like, yeah, that's alright. Don't mess with me. But anyway, that is it. That's all I got to show and talk about, really. Yeah, fun times. I actually have still a lot more stuff I have to do with the cave. I've been, not redoing it completely, I've just been adding stuff. And it's taken a lot because I made a huge mess, and now I'm like, oh crap, now I got to fix that here and fix that there, and make this sturdier and stuff like that. So you'll see that down the line once it's all nice and clean and ready to go. But that'll do it. So please, if you want, throw those comments up there. Love the comments. And if you really, really want, you can subscribe. Do it now! No, anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you had a fun experience. And I'm going to go work on the cave now. So it's not the size of your cave that matters. It's what you have in it. Later.